everybody, Chris, the old-ass retro gamer here. Today is going to be the last pickup video I do for quite some time. I've stopped collecting for a short time because I'm going to be attending Gen Con in July, and I want to be able to actually have some money to spend there. So I had to put the collecting on hold so I could do that. And also, I've got such a massive backlog of games, I don't know when I'll have time to play all this stuff. So I figured I'd give myself a break, buying and adding to the collection so I can actually take some time out and play these fuckers. Basically what I've done is all these games I'm going to show off are the ones that I have purchased since I made videos for the respective systems. I've separated everything out from if I bought it at a store locally, got it online, got it on Facebook, or got it through other means. There's a few games like that that are pretty awesome. I figured I'd talk about the ones that I got in person first. Let's start off with, of all things, I'm at a half-price books looking around, and I find a Intellivision game, complete, Las Vegas Blackjack and Poker. There is a store near me, which I've talked about in I don't know how many other videos. People Play Games. It's in Chicago. And I go there quite a bit. Their prices are better than eBay. They do buy and sell used games. When I find stuff that I'm looking for, I try to snap it up if it's at a good price. I've purchased quite a few things there that will be in this video. Like Silver Surfer, probably one of the hardest shoot-em-ups you'll ever play. But it is awesome and the music rocks. Star Force, it's another shoot-em-up. This one is vertically scrolling by Tecmo. It's pretty cool. It's not the greatest thing ever. Star Soldier, it's another vertically scrolling shooter. You see a theme starting to show up here? Ninja Gaiden! Finally have this in the collection. Super happy. They were selling this for about $35 at People Play Games, and I wasn't going to pass that up. Still one of the hardest games I've ever played. I watched a friend of mine beat it once. I have never been able to beat it myself. Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. Everyone gives this game a lot of crap. I don't understand why. Yes, it's different from the original. Whoop-de-doo. It's its own game. It's fun. It's cool. It's more Zelda. Now I'm going to go into the Super Nintendo. Got these also at People Play Games. I had a lot of credit there at one point, and I said I'd use the credit to buy some of the higher-end games that I was looking for, like the Seventh Saga, really awesome role-playing game by Enix, before Square bought them out and made them poo. Batman Returns, one of the best movie-licensed games ever. Brainlord, another Enix RPG, which is pretty freaking rad, lots of really cool effects. Magic Sword! Now for the Genesis games, Cutthroat Island. Dick Tracy, not too bad. It's definitely a lot better than the Nintendo game that is also based on that movie. Out of all the ones I've played, I think this one is probably my favorite. Double Dribble, the Playoff Edition. Bit Fighter. Really awesome port of Prince of Persia, one of the better versions of this game. One of my favorite games for the Genesis, RoboCop vs. Terminator. There's also a version of this for the Super Nintendo, but it is bloodless. This game is drenched in it. It is gore all over the place. You shoot somebody in the chest, their head pops off their body in a geyser of blood. It is awesome. Taz and Escape from Mars. And I do have the first game in the series, World of Illusion, starring Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. And then I randomly found this at a half-price books. I don't think I've ever seen this before in person. And the fact that it was unopened was even better. The Genesis Mega Mouse. When did they make a mouse for the Genesis? I don't know. What games even use this? But whatever. I probably won't open it. It's just random. But awesome. Managed to find a complete long box of Doom, which I love. This version of Doom is probably my favorite of all of them, even over the PC games from back in the day. I like Doom 64 a lot, but this one is the one that I played this game to death. And it is still a ton of fun. The lighting effects, everything is just rad as hell. Blast Chamber. Strange fighting game, Cardinal Sin. It's cool, but it's not cool. Duke Nukem Time to Kill. Awesome soundtrack. It has Stabbing Westward in it. They were the shiz back in the 90s. Where'd you go? Fighter Maker. And you can't have a PlayStation collection without one of these games in there. Medal of Honor Underground. Back then, they were pretty cool. Nowadays, not so much. Let's get into the Dreamcast games. Some of these are kind of suspect because, the Dreamcast is the system that I'm trying to go for a complete collection. And, I have to get some some poop in there. So I got 102 Dalmatians puppies to the rescue. Don't judge me. Conflict Zone. It's a pretty rad strategy game. Championship Surfer. And probably one of my favorite games from the Dreamcast. No one ever talks about this game. I think it's pretty awesome. I always did. It's just really epic. Armada. How about some handheld games? Death Jr. Dungeons & Dragons Tactics. Really rad. If you like Final Fantasy Tactics, this is the Dungeons & Dragons alternative. Harvest Moon, Hero of Leaf Valley. I got this at a Goodwill. The Hustle, Detroit Streets. Medal of Honor Heroes. Medieval Resurrection. When I bought this at Half Price Books, the lady behind the counter did not know what was up. She thought that this plastic casing that the UMD comes in was like an extra case that they were keeping it in to protect the disc. So she ripped it apart in front of me and then took the disc and put it in the jewel case. I almost jumped that goddamn counter. Play me like that. Untold Legends, The Warrior's Code. Ultimate Ghosts and Goblins. Yeah. Twisted Metal Head-On. This is probably one of my favorite games for the PSP. Pro Jared talks about this series of games all the time, so I decided I wanted to see what he was talking about. So, Monster Hunter Freedom Unite. Also picked up some really cool Nintendo DS games at the local half-price books. They're really hit or miss. Sometimes I go there and they just have nothing but generic shovelware crap. Other times I'll go there and it's like someone brought like their entire collection of awesome games and, you know, they're selling them for pretty decent prices. So I found one that I did not know existed. It just looked kind of cool and different. Witches and Vampires, The Secrets of Ashbury. It's a role-playing game that kind of reminds me a little bit of Persona, but not as cool. When you do spells and stuff, you have to like draw on the DS screen to cast the spell, but storyline is stupid. Nanostray. I really want to find the sequel to this. It's by Shinen, who did Nano Assault Neo, which was on my favorite games of 2014 list. They do some great stuff. This game is fucking fantastic. Korarimpa, Marble Mania. You like Xbox games? Counter-Strike, The Great Escape, because why not? The Incredible Hulk, Ultimate Destruction. I did not know that this game existed. Magic: The Gathering, Battlegrounds. It's Magic, role-playing game, crazy stuff in the cards and the magics and sorcery. Sid Meier's Pirates, Project Gotham Racing, and a twofer, Siberia and Siberia 2, graphic adventure type games, kind of awesome and kind of bad at the same time. But this one was apparently good enough to get a sequel, so PlayStation 2 time. The Fast and the Furious, Onimusha Dawn of Dreams, RC Revenge Pro, Treasure Planet. Warhammer Fire Warrior. I keep finding Warhammer games everywhere. The X-Files Resistor Serve, awesome. World Heroes Anthology, can't go wrong with these SNK compilations. They're freaking amazing. Superman Shadow of Apocalypse. Didn't know this game existed. Didn't realize Sega had continued the series past the Dreamcast. Virtual on Mars. Yep. Another game that I did not know existed. It's a sequel to an arcade game, from what I understand, by Namco. I found it at People Play Games. Was just sitting on the shelf. I thought the title of it sounded kind of interesting, so I was looking at it and I was reading the back. And it sounded really cool. It's like a dungeon crawler RPG. And I checked it out. It is pretty rad. It is The Nightmare of Druaga Fushigino Dungeon. Yeah, I guess Druaga is a arcade game that I never heard of before. But whatevs, I got a sequel, and the sequel's pretty rad. Found me a new Wii game at a local store that I go to in Skokie where I work. And I've been looking for this game forever, and I can never find it for a good price, and I finally did. Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. Getting close to having all them Zelda games. This one is the version that comes with the exclusive music CD. It's for the Zelda 25th anniversary. So it is a double pack. CD, game, CD, game, CD, game. It rocks. I also picked up a couple of PlayStation 3 games. Untold Legends Dark Kingdom. And then there was this monstrosity. I went to a Savers that's in my hometown. I randomly found this there. I used to have this game back in the day when it first came out, and I did not like it. I did not like it at all. It was gimmicky, and it was not fun, and you had to spend extra money on it. It's like pre-DLC having to spend extra money on the game in order to play it properly. So I ended up getting rid of it. But I found it again, complete, unopened, sealed, and I will never open it again because I do not want to play it, but it is pretty awesome just to have it because of what it comes with, and that is the Eye of Judgment for the PlayStation 3, which is completely complete. It not only comes with the game, it also comes with the PlayStation Eye camera and a deck of cards that you need to use to play it with, and an expansion pack. Basically, the way this game works is you aim the PlayStation Eye camera at the floor, there's a grid, you place cards that you have in this deck up here on the floor within those grids. Depending on what card you put down, the camera will read it, and an animation will happen because of that card that is attached to that card, and you'll see the characters fight. It's kind of cool the first time you see it, then you start seeing the same thing repeated over and over again, and it kind of loses its luster. So, not the greatest game. It was trying to be like this interactive version of Magic. Not fun. Not good at all. But this I'm happy to have. For the PlayStation 4, I had to pick this up because I'm a huge fan of this series. And the newest one came out, and I said yes, 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 yes. Mortal Kombat X. The game is fantastic. I love some of the new characters. I'm not too happy with some of the returning characters because a lot of the characters in this game have have children who are playable, who basically share the same moveset as their parents. Then why are the parents still in there? Yeah, they're kind of redundant. So it was just padding to fill out the roster as far as I'm concerned. But this is one of those games that I bitched about in another video. Day 1 DLC. If you didn't pre-order this game, you didn't get Goro. If you want Goro, you have to pay $5. There's also this easy fatality bullshit, so instead of having to learn a button combination to kill somebody at the end of the match, you just hold down like R2 and hit like X, and your character will just do it. And you have like 5 of them at the start that they just give you for free. If you want to keep using them, you have to pay for, I think it's like for $5 for 10. I'm okay with like the combat pack, which is DLC characters. That's one thing. But you can even pay money to unlock everything that's in the crypt that you would normally earn coins in the game by just participating in fights to unlock things in this crypt. You can pay $20 and just unlock everything in one shot. It kind of takes the fun out of it. So basically, you pay $60 for the game. If you want to unlock everything right off the bat, you pay like another $60. So basically, you just paid $120 for a game. I'm not down with that. So now I'm going to go over the games that I got off of Facebook deals, which, like I've said many times before, is a great resource for collecting. There's people out there that are selling stuff for well below eBay rates, which I only use as a last resort, or if I don't have a resort, or whatever. Anyway, I found fantastic stuff there, and have made some pretty decent friends as well. So, let's just get into that. Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, Pool of Radiance. Never played these games before in my life, even though I know everybody and their mother played the PC versions from way back in the 80s. I was never fortunate enough to do so, so now I can. I probably won't like it. A Boy and His Blob, Trouble on Bloblonia. One of my favorite games, and one that you have probably never even played. Conquest of the Crystal Palace. This game is fantastic, awesome, great music, great graphics, great everything. Crystalis, one of my favorite Nintendo games ever. I played this game nonstop when I first got it. The music in it is fantastic. That overworld music just gets me amped. Great RPG with action stuff going on in it also. Lots of fun. Rad as hell. Faxanadu, which is almost like a clone of Zelda 2. But that's not a bad thing because I like me some Zelda 2. Wizards and Warriors. I also have Iron Sword. I'm just looking for part 3 now. And I'm all set. Kirby's Adventure. Legacy of the Wizard. Sadite. Narc. Nightshade. I knew nothing about this game until I saw JonTron play it. And it looked so goofy, I said, I need that game. And now I have it. Oh my god! Out of the way, Peck. Really unique shooter. Zexus. Or Shexus. Or short. Shizur. I'm putzing around on Facebook one day, and some guy in one of the video game groups that I'm in posts this request that he has these 2 games, and he wants to trade them for horror memorabilia. And me being a big movie geek and a huge horror fan, of course I have plenty of it lying around. Some of it I don't really even want anymore. So I quickly jumped on it and I said, I want those 2 games. What are you looking for? And he said mainly he was looking for posters. Well, I had some that I was really looking to get rid of because I only have so much wall space and so many poster frames I could use, and I have way more posters than I would ever need in my entire lifetime. And I figured, this is good trade bait because I really want these 2 games. So we traded, and I got Mike Tyson's Punch-Out and Contra. You might remember from the Midwest Gaming Classic video that I made that I bought that Star Trek V repro. Well, a friend of mine that runs this group called Retro Game Nerdatorium saw me talking about how I wanted to get a box and a manual and a brand new label for the game, and he directed me towards Uncle Tusk, which I think I did talk about in that video. Well, I got the box and the manual. That's what it looks like. What does God need with a starship? The manual, which is pretty close to what you would get in this day and age with a Nintendo game. The dude that I found on Facebook that does replacement labels gave me a brand new one, which looks fantastic. I was collecting amiibos at one point when they first started. I did have the entire first wave, including the Villager and Marth and the Wii Fit Trainer. And I started to get into the second wave, and out of that second wave, I really wanted Pit, but turns out that sumbitch was one of the hardest ones to find, and I'm not going to wake up at 5 in the morning to go stand outside of a fucking Target to get one of them. I just don't do that. And I'm not willing to do that. I don't know why people are willing to do that. It's a fucking piece of plastic. So when I got super frustrated without being able to find a Pit anywhere, and I was not going to pay $50 for one online, I said, you know what? Fuck amiibos. I decided to get rid of them. So I put a post up on Facebook that I was looking to get rid of the ones that I had, including the rare ones. And one guy wanted my Little Mac and was willing to trade me for this. The Kirby's 20th Anniversary Dream Collection, which is completely complete. It comes with the outer box, it comes with the game, this really cool celebration book, and it even comes with a pretty awesome soundtrack. It's basically Kirby's version of the Super Mario All-Stars Wii edition that I also showed off in a previous video. So this is pretty awesome. I never thought I would be able to find this, because anything Kirby just goes for insane amounts of money. So the fact that one guy wanted one frickin' amiibo for this thing, I was like, sure. I thought I was getting the better end of the deal, to tell you the truth. Game I had no idea existed, Star Fox Command. It's not a traditional Star Fox game. Sure, there are levels that play like the Star Fox you know and love. Some people don't, whatever. But it's actually more like a strategy game. It's different. I'm not sure if I like it, but it's definitely playable. I mean, I have played it a lot. I just don't know if I actually am enjoying myself. Custom Robo, which I had never played before. And when I did, it is fantastic. Sonic Mega Collection. Picked up another GameCube game to use with my bongo controls. Donkey Konga 2. Mario Kart Double Dash. This is the, I guess, rarer edition that comes with this bonus disc of playable demos, which is pretty awesome, I must admit. I did not know this existed. Turns out this was the one that I, ended up buying off some dude on Facebook. I didn't even realize that, I guess this one goes for more money. I guess because I got it for like $30. Found some guy that lives in South America, I think he was in Venezuela, who was trying to get rid of his entire Saturn collection. And I took this as an opportunity to fill out my collection just a little bit more, but also possibly take the versions of games that I had that were just in jewel cases and upgrade them to a full, complete copy. So I got a few of both. Enemy Zero, which is like a sort of sequel to D. Same character, has nothing to do with D. I don't understand why. That one was all about horror and Dracula stuff, and this one is about aliens. And it stars Jill Conniff from Luscious Jackson. Who? Hexen, Virtua Fighter 2, Virtual Racing, and then the two that I managed to upgrade were Virtualon and Legend of Oasis, Jet Grind Radio, Gauntlet Legends, and Capcom vs. SNK. Damn straight. And I also managed to get a really cool deal off another person who, because I was buying so many games off of them for the PlayStation, decided to just throw one random one in there for free because why not? So I picked up Blood Omen Legacy of Kain, which is a very underrated action RPG Super rad. Oddworld, Abe's Exodus, Wild Arms 2, and he gave me for free Metal Gear Solid VR missions, which I know a lot of people can't stand. I really liked it. Now I'm just going to go to the stuff that I just bought online, be it from eBay, Amazon, whatever. I've even started buying stuff off of a website called Leap Trade. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. Basically, you can put your games up on this website, Leap Trade, to trade, and it's worth a certain amount of money when you put it up, regardless if it's in the box or, loose or whatnot. They take all systems, and you can purchase credits to spend on the website towards games that people are selling. You can also trade, like in the name. While it can be problematic because it actually took a lot of effort to actually spend the money, I put $20 in my account on that website. And every time I would select a game to buy, someone would deny me. I'm assuming a lot of times it was like they either just wanted to trade for something instead of actually having somebody buy it outright, or because the website seems to not differentiate between something that's complete and something that's loose, they wanted extra money for it being complete, which is how I purchased everything. And they didn't want to have to give their game up for less money than they were willing to because of that. So it took me about 3 weeks to spend $20 on that website. It was frustrating beyond belief. But the stuff I did get were high quality, they were in great shape, and I was happy with what I got. I just wish I got the stuff that I wanted to begin with. Stuff I bought online. Let's go. Oddworld Adventures. Never knew there were Oddworld games for the Game Boy. And there's a sequel. F-Zero GP Legend for the Game Boy Advance. Iridium 3D for the Game Boy Advance. And Motocross Maniacs Advance, which is not nearly as fun as the old Game Boy version, which is archaic by comparison. For some reason, that version just whoops all kinds of ass, and this one is just kind of frustrating to play. Nintendo games? If I have to buy a Nintendo game off of eBay, I don't go for the expensive stuff. I never, ever do. I go for stuff that's $20 and under, which is why I get most of the really good stuff on Facebook. I usually find stuff there that is worth 50, 60, 70 bucks and paid 20, 30 for them there. So all these games that I got off of eBay for the Nintendo, I paid less than $20 for, which is pretty good. Burai Fighter, Cobra Triangle, which is by Rare. Starship Hector, which is a very cool and underrated shoot-'em-up. One of the lightning rods of hate for the Nintendo, Fester's Quest. I love it. Heavy Barrel, Hide-Lide. Because why not? One of the first ever games from Square, King's Knight, which is one of the strangest games I've ever played. So Japanese. Orb 3D, which actually does come with the 3D glasses. You damn right I made sure I got that shit. This game is based off of a movie I cannot stand. Even though I thought I would hate this game, it turned out to be something I never thought it would be. I thought it would be just a generic action game, and it turned out to be an RPG. What? Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. For once, a game is better than the movie as far as I'm concerned. When does that ever happen? Right here. Finally got a copy of it. Rolling Thunder! Vindicators, which was actually an arcade game by Atari, which I think Tengen really is Atari, just trying to publish games on the Nintendo. One of the things I've really been trying to focus on lately is Super Nintendo. You saw I got some really good ones from that People Play Games store that I go to downtown. I found some online also. I had Credit, UN Squadron, Johnny Millennium from the Happy Console Gamer talked about this game a lot and really convinced me that I needed to have it. So I found it for about $25 complete, and I'm not that fond of it. Hook. I've said it before. I'll say it again, I'm a huge fan of Wing Commander. Even the games that are rip-offs, like Warp Speed. Awesome game that does some awesome things with Mode 7. I mean, the spaceship stuff that goes on in this game is mind-bogglingly awesome, especially for what time period this game came out in. Fun, so much fun. Really strange RPG called Draken. And me being from Chicago, it's something that only other Chicagoans would understand. So I'll try to explain it. Alright, it's story time. Back in the early 1990s, there was this phenomenon that was going on in Chicago, and it was Bulls Mania. The Bulls were on a roll. They were winning championships left and right. Michael Jordan was considered a god. Dennis Rodman, who everyone hated with a passion, moves over to Chicago to the Bulls, and all of a sudden he is like a prince. Everyone thinks he's the golden boy. I hate sports. I hate it. I never ever watch sports. But even the people like me who did not like sports were watching those playoff games during that time period. It was just like everyone in Chicago just rallied around this team. It was weird, but it was kind of cool. And, you know, I found myself looking forward to watching a basketball game, which is something I thought I would never hear myself say back then. So naturally, video games are going to come out based on them, and, you know, they're going to be licensing deals and all this kind of stuff. And then this oddity comes out. Michael Jordan, Chaos in the Windy City. So I never played this back in the day because I assumed it was going to be Shaq Fu all over again, just with Michael Jordan. And I did not want to sully my opinion of Michael Jordan by playing what could have been a gigantic, horrible, flaming piece of shit. So I never played it. But now in the day and age of the interwebs, I decided, you know what, I remember that Michael Jordan game. I always wondered if that was any good. Let me look up some footage, and it looked really fun. And then I see a video by Adam Koralik where he's talking about it and how he says it's not a great game, but it is a fun game, and it's just bizarre. So I say, you know what, I'll tumble for you. So I picked it up, and lo and behold, it is a lot of fun. It is goofy as shit. You got Michael Jordan throwing flaming basketballs and ice basketballs that freeze enemies, and to get power-ups, you got to dunk on these hoops that are just randomly strewn about levels, and you're going to rescue your teammates, and it's really odd, but gotta admit, it's pretty cool. And then the piece de resistance. I am so glad I have this game back in my collection. This is one of my all-time favorite games. I think this is like number 5 on my list of all-time favorite video games. And it goes for a crazy amount of money. And just like I did with that Castlevania for the Super Nintendo and the Contra, I found some dude slipping on the eBay. And he was only charging what basically would amount to retail price. Bam, I find this and I snap that shit up before he could blink. Super fucking Metroid. I did that so fast I cracked my neck. And you probably have noticed throughout this entire video so far, there have been no Nintendo 64 games. Well, that is because out of all the systems out there, I think the Nintendo 64 is my least favorite. Not only are the games expensive right now, especially if you want to get the good ones, I just never was a fan of the system. I did not like the controller. I did not like the graphics of the games. It was out at the same time as the PlayStation. Even though they were doing the exact same things, the graphics always looked sharper and more clean on the PlayStation. They were just gross and muddy looking on the Nintendo 64. There was that fog that you got like in the Turok games, and I don't know, the system never really did anything for me. But there were a few games that I liked, and one of them was Jet Force Gemini. And, you know, I had to have it because it's by Rare! Galaxy Force 2, Predator 2, Quackshot starring Donald Duck, Green Dog, the Beach Surfer Dude, Wipeout and Twisted Metal, played Pac-Man World, 20th anniversary. Really awesome game, Disruptor. This was one of my favorites when I first got it back in the day. Really shitty full-motion video cutscenes that are acted horribly. If you like cheesy B movies, it'll be right up your alley because they're so bad they're kind of good. But the game is a first-person shooter that is just so much fun, and there's like psychic powers you also have, which is rad as fuck. And now that I have this, I can play the entire series. Wild Arms! Astral, Metal Jesus, you were right! Yep! Clockwork Knight. I upgraded both my copies of Daytona USA and the Championship Circuit Edition. I also upgraded Last Bronx, NHL All-Star Hockey 98, because I like video game hockey. Definitely happy that I was able to upgrade these. Panzer Dragoon and Panzer Dragoon 2 Zwei. Not exactly Panzer Dragoon Saga, but it's a start. Just back off, will ya? Scud the Disposable Assassin. Someone on eBay was selling just the rear card for the jewel case, which is all I needed for this game. Shinobi Legions. I had the manual, I had the disc, I just needed the rear card, which is the original one. Bought the card, I think, for $10 on eBay, and now I have a complete copy of Shinobi Legions, which normally goes for about $60. The Saturn pickup video that I did a while back, I actually had some Japanese Saturn games that I was given by a former coworker of mine, and I started to look a little bit deeper into import Saturn games, and wow, the library for the Japanese Sega Saturn is like massive. We got about a fifth of the amount of games, maybe even less than that, of what Japan got. There is just a crazy amount of games available for that system in Japan, and I don't know what all of them are. I don't know if all of them can be played over here with, knowing zero Japanese. So I decided I wanted to pick a few up to try out, what was available. So I picked up some really cool stuff, like Hyper Reversion, which to me is like Virtualon. Virus by Hudson, which is kind of like a Resident Evil knockoff. It's pretty cool. Willy Wombat. It's pretty awesome, I gotta admit. All these ones I picked up from Hudson were pretty rad. And then the big one, the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Collection. Both of the arcade Dungeons & Dragons games in one set. So you get Tower of Doom and Shadow over Mystara. A friend of mine who is a huge D&D fan came over, and we played through the first one in one afternoon. Super fun. And then, of course, I find out they had released these for the Xbox Live Arcade. Of course they did. Dreamcast games. Gotta complete that set, baby. Ms. Pac-Man Maze Madness. 18-wheeler American Pro Trucker. Four-wheel Thunder, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's like Arctic Thunder, just with dune buggies. And Virtualon Oratorio Tangram. This is the second Virtualon game. And I do believe that I have all three now. Got some really rad handheld games here. Trace Memory. Magical Star Sign. And one game that was recommended by Nintendo, and he was saying that this game is basically a stand-in for Earthbound. If you can't afford Earthbound, this is the closest thing you're going to get to playing Earthbound without paying $800. Contact by Atlas, which I will admit reminds me a lot of what I've played of Earthbound. It's a lot of fun. It's weird. Really weird. Strange. Off-the-wall bizarre. What I have played of this game, I really enjoyed. It's different, which is good. Shifting World for the 3DS. Gotta love them PSP games. Aliens vs. Predator Requiem. Final Fantasy II. Gladiator Begins. What? Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. Killzone Liberation. Wipeout Pulse. You got Star Fox Command. And then you got R-Type Command, which is basically the exact same thing. It's R-Type done as a strategy game. Except this one is more strategy than doing any shooting levels or anything like that. Basically, you just select who you want to attack and you watch the computer do it. At least in Star Fox, you can do the attacking yourself, which is kind of cool. This is another one I'm not really sure if I enjoy it or not. But, I mean, Atlas... What? Atlas did an R-Type game? What? And then what is quite possibly the most bizarre name for a video game ever? Prinny 2, Dawn of Operation Panties, Dude. That's the name of it. Dawn of Operation Panties, Dude. But dude is spelled D-O-O-D. It's actually pretty fun. Deus Ex The Conspiracy. Haven, Call of the King, which is one of the games that I got off of Leap Trade. And I think it was like my 10th choice of game that I wanted. Star Wars Bombad Racing, okie day! Ark the Lad, End of Darkness. And Air Force Delta Strike. Oddworld, Munch's Odyssey. After getting this, I need one more game. And I have the complete Oddworld collection. And that is the second Oddworld Adventures for the Game Boy. Warriors, come out and play. Painkiller, Hell Wars, and Gladiator, Sword of Vengeance. Nintendo decided to start fucking releasing these things, finally. They're only sold out since Christmas, and now they're just starting to pop up randomly online. I found this one on Amazon for about $20, brand new. And that is the GameCube controller adapter for the Wii U, so you can play Super Smash Bros. With your GameCube controllers, which is basically the way you want to play the game. Cool thing is, you can play that game 8-player, you just need another one of these. And I was lucky enough to find this. I doubt I'll be lucky enough to find a second one. Or 4 friends. Huh. And lastly, the games that I got through other means. The first bunch of games I'm going to show you, I got through a friend of my brother's who was moving, needed to get rid of some stuff. He had a box of Genesis games that he needed to get rid of. So he contacted my brother to see if my brother wanted them. My brother does not play video games. But he knew that I was collecting, so he contacted me and said, hey, he sent me a picture of the box of stuff, and he says, do you want any of this? And I said, give it all to me. And there was some good stuff in there. But I wasn't going to throw a whole lot of money at it to see if I can get away with it. So I said, $20, and sold! So a lot of the games I already had. Actually, it was like 80% of the games in that box I already had. There was a Genesis in there and a bunch of off-brand controllers I didn't want. I ended up trading all that in to People Play Games and got some good stuff in return, like you've seen. These are the only 3 that I kept because I did not have these in my collection. Golden Axe, Wheel of Fortune, Zombies Ate My Neighbors, When I saw this in the box, I was all excited about it. I was like, yeah. I prefer the Super Nintendo version, though. And then the second group of games were raffle wins, just like that Mega Man X trilogy of Super Nintendo games that I'd gotten off of that one Facebook group where they basically have a raffle. They put up a game. They say they have so many spots available at a certain price for each spot. You tell them how many spots you want. You send them money through PayPal. They then take your name and put it into a randomizer for as many times as you have bought tickets. And if you come up on top, you win that game. I've on and off participated in raffles, lose a lot, but I never really paid that much money. I think the most I ever paid was when I was trying to get a TurboGrafx 16, and I paid, I think, $25 for tickets for it, and I didn't win, and I was kind of mad about that, but whatever, win some, you lose some, I have to look at it that way. But I have won a few. I've won some pretty good stuff. So let's take a look. I've been looking for this game forever. It was one of the first games I wanted to buy when I first got into collecting, but to my dismay, I found out that it was going for quite a bit of money because it's actually a pretty decent game. And it is also an extremely hard one, and a lot of times I hear people talk about how bad they think it is because it is so hard. But just because it's difficult does not mean it sucks. Battletoads by Rare! Everyone gives a lot of shit to the Turbo Tunnel level. I have to admit, I hadn't played this game in probably 20 years. So when I got it in the mail, I booted it up. I beat the Turbo Tunnel the first time I played it. It wasn't that hard. Awesome game, great music, play control is amazing. It is difficult. It's not prohibitively difficult. It's just frustrating enough to make you want to keep coming back. This one actually, there's a story that goes with it. It was just a big clusterfuck. So, I win this game. I think I paid like $6 in tickets because they're only $2 each. Get the game in the mail, and the rear card on the jewel case is the wrong one. Contact the guy. He says he'll send it to me right away if I send him back the wrong one. I send it back to him the next day. I don't get anything in the mail. Start trying to contact this guy, see if he actually sent it to me. Can't get any kind of response. I contacted the admins on the board on the Facebook group, and they say they'll contact him. I never hear from them. Another week goes by. At this point, it's like almost a month later. I contact the guy and I say, look, dude, you got to give me this goddamn thing. What are you waiting for? I gave you back the one that you gave me that was wrong. This is all on you. It's all your fault. You sent the wrong thing. Why are you, messing with me? I'm like, do you really want to put your name in bad standing on this group? Because, obviously you are making money on this group. You want to screw that up? I contact another admin on the group, and he eventually sends the guy the message. I finally hear from the guy. He had some weird excuse about, there's something going on in the family, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. Just give me my shit. And it finally showed up. I got it. Power Stone 2 for the Dreamcast. Yeah, this game is super expensive, and I got it for $6. He had sent me the back artwork for Power Stone 1. And he goes, I'm sorry, I didn't realize I got those messed up. Well, you would think if it was anything, it would have been the entire back portion of this jewel case, and it would have had Power Stone 1 in it, and not the Power Stone 2. How would that even happen? Whatever. I got my game. I'm good. And the best one is the one that I've been trying to purchase for the longest damn time, but it is still so goddamn expensive. The condition it showed up in I wasn't too happy about because they had hidden it in the pictures on the Facebook group. So when it showed up, I was a little miffed, but at the same time, I'm like, at least I have it, and it's completely complete. Map, instructions, everything. Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past. What they didn't show was that, the corner, this is how I display the games, is through this side right here. The corner has been ripped off. Awesome game. I was never able to beat this as a child when I had it. As an adult, I think I will try again. And that is it. God damn. That's a lot of games. I'm drowning in them. Please subscribe to my channel. Please. Why not? You're already here. You've seen what I'm all about. Why not? Comment on the video. Let me know what you think about the epic amount of games that I've shown off in this video. Which ones you think are awesome. Which ones are you happy to see that I've finally picked up. Which ones you think I still need to pick up. It'll be a while before that happens. Which ones are like, why did you buy that flaming piece of shit? Why did you buy that hunk of crap? Let me know. Let's talk. Let's chat. Let's converse. Share the video, share it on Facebook, share it on the Twitter, write it down on a piece of paper and leave it at the local bus stop. And also give the video a thumbs up so I know that you like what you are seeing. So the next video will definitely be some original content. It could be a review. It could be a rant. It could be a let's play. It could be anything. Mystery. So stay tuned for what's coming up next. And until then, I am Chris, the old ass retro gamer, signing off.